next topic that I'd like to discuss, that we ought to be aware of, and we ought to take great caution in our understanding, and make sure we keep a spiritual and a scriptural perspective on this, is government. Government is a very, very, very hot topic for me, in that, no matter how much I look at the ideal, no matter how much I look at its purpose and function, I still see the source of it as being some of what we have today as being very, very evil and inherently evil. I mean, a system where inherently corrupt individuals, which I spoke about in one of my previous individuals, are given power over other corrupt individuals, I think just leads to a huge godless mess at times. And I think that what we have is it's a complete mess. We've got prayer that's no longer in schools. We've got our children no longer being primarily educated by the parents. We've got children that in some ways are being taken care of by the government. People are lacking personal responsibility. And we got the people lacking personal responsibility. Like I said, being miseducated, debt, consumerism, entertainment and television. Our music is just presenting our children and ourselves with just images, sexual images, images of materialism, just all the wrong things. Sometimes we're getting mixed messages that are being promoted, anti-God, anti-Jesus messages that are being promoted. We get all of that. We get laws that are from government, laws that are terrible, in my opinion. We got marriage licenses. Why do we need a license to marry? We got birth certificates. We got income taxes, which is the source of a lot of contention in the truth movement. But people don't realize that the problem is the Constitution itself, and that we have, from birth, we were declared citizens of the United States, and not the states which we are born. And that's the problem: is your citizenship, it's your status. You are subject to income tax. You are a citizen of the United States, and nothing makes me more. Nothing upsets me more than people not to realize their status and understand that they are liable for that tax. And so much longer as you say that you are a member of the United States of America. So what am I saying? I'm saying that people need to step outside of the system, and not be a part of the system if you want to be effective. A lot of people are spending a lot of energy trying to reform a system that is inherently broken and that can't be fixed. Social Security, excessive taxation, driver's license, police protection. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. We don't need these things. And until people stand up and realize that, hey, wait a minute, we need to say that we are no longer a part of this United States of America society that's been created, and then the states stand up as the people stand up and take back what was originally given to them when the founding fathers created the Constitution, which is that each state is each state is a country, each state is a nation, each state has its own constitution. Let's get back to that. Let's get back to states exercising their sovereignty instead of being in bed with the federal arm of the government. I mean, it's just terrible. People aren't paying attention to what ought to be done. But then again, when you look at it from a spiritual perspective, the spirit behind it does benefit such a thing, because otherwise the way that our Constitution is set up, the federal government does not have any jurisdiction or hold over the population, over the people of the states. They had to somehow come up with a way to reach inside the states so that the people could actually be subject to its laws, its private law. So that's another lesson in law that I found in my studies there, and I just ultimately lost hope in that there could be any change that could be made, because I think the overall system has the goal in mind to enslave the population, and for the population not to be free, for a man not to have specific rights given to him by God, but that he should be subject to a higher moral authority. So mankind, like I said, does not seem to understand that they can't create a utopia or the perfect system so long as the earth is under the control of the great enemy. In John chapter 12 verses 30 through 31, Jesus answered and said, "The voice came not because of me, but for your sake. This voice, came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out." And we're talking about Satan here. He is the prince of this world. I guess he has legal right to certain goings on in this world. I think governments, leaders, rulers are subject to him when they're not submitting themselves to the counsel, the leadership, the headship, the lordship of Jesus Christ. They're susceptible, I think, to being at the mercy and being a very useful vehicle for the dictates of Satan himself. Societies that bear governments in which the members of society are not dedicated to the worship of God in spirit and truth are susceptible to decay and moral deterioration. Perusing through the Old Testament, we get this time and time again. Whenever the children of Israel were given to idolatry, were given to the worship of other gods, of demons, we saw the spiritual decay. We saw the wickedness, the moral deterioration. We saw that God was not particularly happy with their choices and with the way that they worshipped. Where a man contradicts the word of God, where he does these things, we cannot stand in support of that man, no matter what. We must stand with Jesus. We must take up the cross. We must follow him in all that we do. And when we lend our support, some even our monetary resources and time to these people, put our hope, faith, and trust in these men, I think it's very. We must understand that the results will be limited, especially a politician who, in this day and age, doesn't serve the people, doesn't serve the best interests of the people. The intentions of this country, I think, were good. The intentions were great. I understand the circumstances under which this country was founded. The idea was great, but over time, I think corruption has set in, and we're very far away from what was the original intent of this country. That's saddening, but as a follower of Jesus Christ, this is not my home anyway. And as a follower of Jesus Christ, I know that things will not be made right until he makes them right.